Welcome to Zelda Speedruns. We have for you from the Zelda 2 Randomizer Max Rando Tournament 2025, a Swiss round 1 matchup between BK PKT Patrick and TAH. I am VT Slacker. I will be your tracker for this race, and I'll pass it over to our commentary team of Elendar and Krista Joy. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody out there in TV land. I have finally returned to Z2R commentary, and wow, what a time to be alive right now. You know, I am doing comms with Elendar, the genius of Zelda 2 Randomizer, and it's a great honor to be here once again. And I know with Max Rando, that means maximum shenanigans. Elendar, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling like I'm ready for some chaos. We've already had in this tournament 1 heart 2 live seeds. We've had 8 hearts 4 live seeds and everything in between. So we'll see if TAH can manage to take down former champion Patrick. Not the current champion, but the previous champion. But he's looking to take it back because the previous champion not appearing in this tournament.
Yes, and that would be our retired one. But look at all the items right out the rip! Woo!
Yeah, we've got thunder, we've got stabs, and we've got gloves. Man, if it worked for the 6 gem requirement, we could just go to GP right away.
Exactly! I mean, imagine being able to go into Saitama mode immediately. You know, what else could you possibly ask for? I mean, probably something to light up the caves, magic key, and Kirby, it is 6 whole gems. So
yep, and some boots for this island pile might be welcome, but have not started with them.
Well, if they get the boots, then that means my all-knowing, omnipotent Lord, the River Devil, might be not as useful as normal. So if we can keep that and the River Devil's in a great place, then that's how you know that this seed was meant for me to commentate.
Yeah, I believe, forgive me for not being a responsible runner who knows how the flags are, but I believe we have the possibility of bad boots. I don't remember whether that's a flag that can roll on here or not, but it may be that we get a little bit more River Devil odds just on bad boots, but you know, he can show up, he can do some work. I think the biggest thing giving us the possibility of some River Devil action is Vanilla Shuffle is a possibility, and that gives you a lot of River Devil blocks.
And obviously we have Patrick, who got 150 P bag along with 70 right now. We are working on a Life 2 and Attack 2. So attack advantage definitely going to Patrick at this moment. And, you know, going to see, he knows nothing. That's sad.
TAH using his traditional strategy of check the hints outside of houses, don't bother going into the houses. Can save a little bit of time, but if you miss an important hint, then you're going to feel bad.
Needs more cowbell. I agree. And we have life on deck.
I believe it's castable even at Magic 1. That's a nice pickup.
Yeah, because usually, you know, you have Magic 1, that gets you nothing. But I know we'll need to level that up eventually because Thunder is in effect, and you never know when you're going to get that dastardly Thunderbird. And GP.
Oh, here's a bridge TAH's side, and we're in the east.
Hey, 3-eyed rock right there.
Could be anything under it.
I know. Could this mean that we need the tutor? AKA play flute.
Well, it's not going to be on the desert tile.
No. That would be too easy, Elendar. We need maximum chaos. So it's gonna be, you gotta believe in Death Mountain Spec Rock.
Oh boy. We could get some absolutely cruel Death Mountains. I've seen a couple vanilla shuffle Death Mountains so far this tournament, but so far no one has been required to do them. People just sort of look at them and say, vanilla shuffle Death Mountain, bye.
You got to love, though. You get a I went to Death Mountain and all I got was this crappy t-shirt. So, it's always the incentive to rush Death Mountain.
Grass tile given TAH looks like a decent amount of experience, and Patrick gets a candle, also welcome.
Absolutely. You want to light your darkest hour there, Rodimus Prime, and that's exactly something that they definitely need. Also, that 700p bag that Alan got has most definitely put him in a better position than Patrick right now. But once Patrick gets a hold of it, we know that it's going to be a tie ball game for the most part.
Yeah, sorry, just north of Patrick's position. We'll see if it's going to be the good side or the bad side. With no boots, no ferry, we are not going to be able to cross.
Wow, we got lay flute. Oh, baby.
So, good pickup for Patrick before he goes to the east, because he's going to find the east and immediately be able to check that rock.
Yes. All right. Death Mountain proper, and it is the good side. No, it's the bad side.
Yeah. Patrick did apparently find Bagu previously, and we missed it, so he is going to be able to cross. Nice.
Okay, so on the good side, this is reflect, which means that, our poor boy is going to get his beams reflected back at him. And it's good to find reflect early, because if you find 4, there's nothing really blocking you in it. You may have a key block, but that's about it. You could punch everything else.
Yeah, and Patrick also getting a hint that the hammer is in the east, which is probably like the 3rd or 4th most desired item right now. I'm sure our runners would rather see some boots, maybe a magic key, but it could still have some required rock blocks.
I think an early magic key would be fantastic, because then that kind of lessens the need for fairy, unless you have a true fairy hard lock. And
Speaking of P4, there it is, and there it goes.
Yeah. And doing some outward explorinos there.
Okay, linked fire is our fire option this time. Patrick, not interested in going in for the hints.
Nah. No.
We do have random fire spell this time, so you can tell from the sign when you find it. It just says fire, it's normal fire. It's got an exclamation point. That's linked fire.
Hey, nice swamp tile here. What do we get?
And, of course, the 1/3 remaining chance. We've got the possibility for dash spell, but unfortunately not here. I do love me some dash spell.
I'm a person that believes you need to dash responsibly, because that can get you into more trouble than anything. And one thing, I know that Patrick has extra lives, but take a wandering look at his health right now. He is running on diet life.
Well, a 700 point P-bag gonna fix that problem.
Yeah. And so we get the attack up as well as that much needed life injection. Enemies have good payouts for the most part. I've seen 70s and 150p bag.
Yeah, nothing bad so far. Oh, Patrick shifted to Thunder to try and kill that enemy, but 83 not castable.
Not hardly. Not hardly. But, oh well, there goes the poor boy. And here, another 700p bag.
Okay, not terrible. You're just going to get P-bags, might as well get 700s.
Absolutely, because then you can boost up to, a comfortable attack level like 5 pretty early before you start dipping the heart of the dungeons. And, that's pretty good all around.
Yeah, with so many gems to place this time, we could see some attack boosting, leveling strategies.
Yeah. So I would definitely be on the side of attack boosting, just so you can get it out of the way. Because odds are, in the earlier dungeons, you probably won't need to cast anything great. But, as you progress, you will need to have something.
Patrick not even checking Old Kasuto. He is not interested.
And there is our Lord and Savior, the River Devil. Who,
he is looking kind of required today.
I know, that is absolutely fabulous. See, this is why you want to, always give props to the River Devil. Also,
okay, they started with Thunder in. Not only did they start with Thunder, but they started with Thunder in the Old Kasuto spot. That makes sense.
Imagine that, sort of, kind of vanilla.
Well, that does mean that our fairy spell is either going to be in New Kasuto, or it's going to be in whatever Vanilla Fairy Town is. Names are hard, which means we're going to probably need something to get a hold of fairy spell.
Yeah, if it's indeed New Kasuto, more likely you're going to need that hammer from the east to bonk it alive. And,
could be. We do have random Kasuto on, so who knows?
Oh, you have random Kasuto? Well, now that changes everything. The dream is that it is in New Kasuto. And the reason being is, if Kasuto is randomized and it's on the overworld without the hammer being necessary, then it's there without restrictions. Whereas with Mito, you need medicine, everyone loves saving the kid. I hope they do.
Patrick going into P1 out of logic. I don't actually know how many keys he has, but I guess we're gonna find out pretty quickly.
Well, it's not a bad dip to go into 1.
Yeah, you could definitely find the item pretty quickly.
Yeah, so that's not a completely bad idea. And, worst case scenario, you get the exploration knowledge, you know where to go. I think he's having a feeling that 1 may have either boots or key, which would be great. But
speaking of key, keys in the small enemy pool in palaces.
So this will actually come in real handy, where it might render the rush to get the magic key. You could delay it a little bit. You just kill a whole bunch of enemies, stack some keys, and you're good to go.
All the way in the southwest of the West, TAH found the raft tile. They did start with the raft, so he's going to be able to explore Maze Island, see what's here. Although it's increasingly looking like this is going to be GP. I don't think they found GP yet.
No, I think it's going to be GP as well. And Alan wishing he kind of sort of had the boots so he could walk around better. But
definitely a layout that would give you some value, some boots. Maybe boots will be here. Maybe TAH will be lucky. This is the boots right here in this case.
This is the Hail Mary. I would have picked up that key though.
Yeah, thankfully he can pick it up on the way out.
Yeah.
And goodbye, horse. Let's see what the boss drop is. 70. Missing a 0 there.
Ooh, that's kind of a weak boss drop, but does get the first of 6 crystals. Also, TAH found a heart container, and that is why he is basically maxed out in health. So we'll probably see more magic and attack grabs on him with regards to his point allocation.
Meanwhile, he's just gonna full clear this maze island, make sure he gets both items. Some boots would be really valuable for both runners. It looks like all 4 of our continents rolled in such a way that boots would be a big help.
So now you have to ask yourself, where are the boots located? There have been generous life grabs here, P-bags, in terms of they were able to quickly, on Patrick's side, 445. Because, I mean, we're only 15 minutes in. And you know, Elendar, that seeds can sometimes be cruel. Really cruel.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, you know. You have to keep optimism alive. Also, getting a magic container. So, for TH, if New Kasuto's favorite grandmother is asking for 5 and not 6, we can get that check as well. So you'll love to see it.
We confirmed on Patrick's side that Fairy Spell is in New Kasuto, which he could not find the last time he was there. Possibility it's boots blocked.
Yeah, I kind of figured, but you want New Kasuto to be visible where, we have the hint about the hammer being in the east. So ideally, you'll probably want to pick that up on the way of looking for New Kasuto, just in case it's behind a tile that you need to give the big bump to. And, our favorite place in the world, Elendar, Death Mountain!
Death Mountain very much looking like a valuable check right now. We don't have very much left in the east. We can check. Water tile is still outstanding. No boots. Couldn't find Risen P-Bag Cave. And I don't know if there's that much left on the west that can be checked without boots.
All right, and that's the heart container that Alan had gotten a while ago.
The lone heart hanging out in the seed.
I know, the one lone. So right now, with that life 5 and that amount of health, I can't imagine getting any more life. What say you, oh guru?
Yeah, I wouldn't. But it's one of those things where it probably wouldn't be the plan, but sometimes you get into situations where you're about to up A and you don't want to waste the experience, so you may end up picking it up anyway.
I would hold on to it for a much needed health injection. Sometimes you could be on, diet life or barely life 0, and, you got that one little sliver. If you can go ahead and take life and use it for the health injection, that's always a good find. But eventually, when you start hitting certain levels, you will be tanking up to, not have to worry about too much damage.
I appreciate that both Patrick and TAH in this swamp encounter with Bogos jumped up and got hit in the head by the Bogos on the bottom wrapping around.
Nice.
Yeah, see, like that cave. There's a bunch of caves here in this canyon that, like, I think that one's just the other end of a connector. But we still haven't seen Risen P-Bag Cave. Could be hiding in here.
Good point.
But other than that, I mean, obviously both of our runners, don't know what each other have found. But from all the knowledge that we have, I think we're probably going to need Death Mountain for our progression here.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if there's anything left that can be checked. Obviously, Patrick's still looking for the maze. He's going to find it shortly. TAH looking to double check the east. He's going to get his last couple finds here. And then, I think we're going to be looking for Hammer Cave, and that could be a magic key, or it could be boots. Either one could open up some more stuff.
I think more likely than not, probably boots, because you do need to explore a little bit more and open it up a little bit. But, and these 700 P-bags have been insane, Elendar.
Yeah, I mean, between the 700 bags and it being a 6-gemmer, we're going to see both runners probably in the neighborhood of like 7, 7, 8 coming into GP.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Unless Patrick starts to light some gems on fire. That's a possibility.
Ooh, life is nothing. It only heals barely 1 heart container, Elendar.
Oh boy. I mean, if there's going to be any seed where you don't care so much about the life spell being bad, this has got to be it.
Yeah, because Patrick just casted it and it healed Jack Diddley Squat. Oh no. So, I guess if you wanted overkill, you could get the shield spell. It's overkill, but...
Yeah, I mean, shield spell is a good spell.
Yeah, because when life is worthless like this one, then your backup more likely than not would be shield.
Yeah, shield every room. You get enough magic for it.
Exactly, because we're going to hit magic 7. Easy.
Yeah, but the possibility still is out there for long GP. So you could want every last bit of that if we get a bad one.
Oh, let's see what this item is going to be. Nothing but a P-bag, 700. Let's go.
As expected, life is being skipped in favor of attack.
Oh yeah, no need to boost it up yet because of the fact that you do. I mean, look at this, back-to-back 700s, Elendar.
Yeah, and TAH basically just doing the same thing as Patrick in reverse. P2 is going to take a look at this P1, do it out of logic. He's going to kill a horse, but he's not going to find an item.
No.
And Patrick feels comfortable he has enough keys that he could do this 3 or 6, potentially out of logic. I don't know, if it's me, at this point you've got to be thinking, hey, DM is very likely to contain something. I may want to do it, even though I can do these palaces out of logic. I still actually really want to do DM at this point.
So we have Rebo on deck.
And he's going down quick.
Yeah, I mean, attack 5, he should. He should. And that was a very quick 3.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we've got palaces continue after the boss on, and so you can get some very early bosses with a lot of palace behind them.
Well, because you're looking for boots, possibly, you do want to try to full clear it, but if it turns out to be a big boss,
no, he decided he didn't even want to keep going. I don't know how many keys he had, whether he thought it was reasonable to keep going or not, but he is going to get his 2 items from the maze next.
Well, we're going to get that magic container, and we're also going to get a pea bag for the 2 items over here.
Yeah, this is kind of a classic situation, though, where both runners are so desperate not to do Death Mountain that they're willing to check everything else first.
Yeah, Death Mountain doesn't get any respect, but it can be some really hard to accept progression, and this is where Patrick's gonna get that really weak pea bag, and then we're gonna see magic container as the other item. But I actually love Death Mountain, so I would go to it.
TAH has found Risen Pea-Bag Cave. I don't know if I don't think Patrick checked this. Maybe he did. It's not marked off on his tracker, but he may have already found it. We're gonna see if this is something good. This could put TAH ahead. It is the magic key. A huge find for TAH.
You ain't kidding. So when TAH goes to 3, TAH is going to we're going to see Alan definitely go past the boss through that locked door to see what the item in 3 could be. And if the item is something big, like boots, that will be one huge advantage for TAH.
Boots would be nice. At this point, I don't know if they even technically need the boots anymore with that magic key. I think we can get to all of the palaces without. Obviously, boots would save a ton of time just navigating around everything. But
it's a comfort of life situation, and that.
Well, just speeding stuff up too, right? Like we've got Islands West, Islands Death Mountain, Canyon, Wet Canyon East. Boots are good in all of those. Even the maze, it'll save you a couple encounters if you had some boots.
Exactly. Quality of life does matter quite a bit, especially when you're going against someone the likes of Patrick. Both of these runners are very experienced, know this game like the back of their hands. But, when you're going up against Patrick, you need something to leverage against him. And right now, that play and that find by TH does allow him to traverse a little bit more because, Patrick's keys are limited and are dependent on what he can find in the item drop pool. But TH doesn't have to worry about that. So he can take and traverse palaces a lot better than Patrick at this point. Because we don't have fairy and we don't know how much fairy costs. I suppose with Magic 5 it should be something decent. Magic 6 on his side, it should not be a huge problem, but you never know.
Yeah, also it very much looks at this point like we know New Casino has the fairy spell. We do know at this point that New Casino can't be hammer blocked because we know hammer is in the east and the only I guess water tile is still available. I was gonna say the hammer's got to be somewhere in the east and it can't be in a hammer block New Casino, but New Casino could easily still be boots blocked, so we could still need those boots.
So at this point, what would you be looking for if you were one of these 2 runners in terms of your immediate find?
If I'm TAH, I'm just looking for the closest palace I can find and starting to hound out some palaces. And if I find something nice, something way cool. If I don't, whatever. Right? I can do. I guess he has to get this reflect spell here at some point, so might as well. if I am Patrick, unfortunately, the thing I would be doing here is going to Death Mountain, and, you know, I'm wrong, but you gotta be really frustrated at this point, because you know the two possibilities are either you missed something, or it's in Hammer Cave, and both those options stink.
They do. You know, and on TAH's side, we've seen 3, we've seen 4. You know, with the Reflect Spell and the Saitama Glove, easily go into it and just start taking care of business.
Yep, and we're going to start with P4.
Yeah. And it was great that Reflect was right next to P4, because you really didn't want to have to go looking for that. Imagine if that was...
I was gonna say, TAH almost missing. This is the item. Oh no, he fell! It's the boots!
Yep, there we go.
Alright, TAH, just gonna do a little redo on that.
Yeah, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And the sad part is, we did see 4 on Patrick's side, but Patrick opted not to enter it.
Man, if Patrick had just gone in and checked even one room in and had these boots, he would have been way, way ahead. But neither runner are going to have that advantage this time.
Nope. And now we're going to just speed run our way to our cloaked hero, who's going to get reflected on, get dunked on, and TH will have his second crystal. And then, you know, at this point, I would go to 3 and do 3.
Yeah, meanwhile, Patrick did, on his revisit to the east, finally find this Risen P-Bag Cave. And so he will be able to do palaces shortly. We're going to see him reroute extremely quickly. And so, you know, TAH had a little bit of advantage finding that key early, but with Patrick already having cleared 3, he may yet be in the lead still. Yeah.
Once, you know, Magic Key has been acquired, I mean, at this point, I have Reflect, I know where 4 is. You know, I would probably go just kill 4 just for, you know, poops and giggles. But yeah, there's one level that I cry when I have to play, and you know what it is, Elendar. Palace 5.
Where Patrick's going? He trying to walk out? I guess I don't know exactly where all of the palaces are as far as what a good overworld routing looks like, but
now
it's a strong option. It's just up A-ing, and you've got a bunch of west palaces to do. Just up A and go do them rather than walk through all this stuff. But Patrick probably has remembered where the palaces are better than me. I am terrible at remembering. I always use a map tracker.
Yeah, I think the more time Patrick spends trying to explore, that's giving more time. This would have to be a phenomenal grab. I think, I want to say he's trying to find New Kasuto.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we're pretty sure that it's Boots Box. It's going to be somewhere down this river. And yeah, while TAH is kind of like half a palace behind, him having those boots is going to make his palace clearing a lot more efficient than Patrick just his ability to get to them quickly. So very hard to say who's ahead right now. It's a very close one regardless. Very likely going to come down to GP.
It is. You know, GP is known as the great equalizer. All right, we have Patrick now entering. You know, this red is
this is a very red.
Yeah, that's a deep red, like an ominous red.
I don't remember whether this was Palace 2 or 5, but it definitely is an appropriate color scale for 5. Oh, it's P2. Boo.
Yeah, that's...
TAH gonna, in just a second, even up the gem placement count, assuming he can get through hard Karak without taking a death. Easy peasy. And we're back to tied up at 2 gems.
Wow. I never thought I was today's day old at Elendar that I would see a Slayers reference in chat. Oh man. I haven't heard that one in a long time. Also,
yeah, and TAH immediately flexing those boots to be like, alright, forget all of these caves, forget all these nonsense. Taking the express route to the next palace.
That's right. You know, that's exactly what you want at this point. The ability to go in and, oh, look at this. We have both runners in the same level. Yay! But TAH's looks a little more brighter.
Yeah, just hardware differences. I know Patrick is playing on original NES hardware. The way colors are rendered on the NES is absolutely wild, and
it's wonky.
It can not only can it vary differently between an emulator or an NES or some kind of Retron or similar device, but even 2 different NESs can render colors differently. There is no correct way the colors are supposed to look. It's all variants on the hardware.
That this P2 is long.
It is long, and Patrick taking a lava bath. Thankfully,
it's very orthopedic. Yeah, it's very good for you, you know. It helps, and now we're seeing attack 6, whereas TAH is running 4-5-5, and we have triple 6s on Patrick's side. So definite combat advantage going to Patrick, obviously. But, you know, attack 4, it's okay. It's not the greatest.
Yeah, this is definitely not the worst attack ever cast. Thunder TAH.
Imagine trying to cast life to save you.
Oh, I say in a situation like
we're
that.
Getting life. No, surprisingly opted for attack 5. You know, TAH believing in that life spell.
The great thing about Thunder in a situation like that is it not only kills both enemies, but it kills all the hammers on the screen. Just like immediately flushes the problem out for you.
This is the one aspect in which you wish you had Fairy, because then you wouldn't have to take the lava bath. So
yeah, like even right here, you could just jump and cast Thunder in midair just to get across this pit, even if it doesn't kill the enemy, just to clear your way.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I think trying to time this jump is going to be very difficult. I think the only reasonable thing to do is either cast Thunder or just be really patient and wait for him to walk himself off the edge.
You know, that's bleeding time if we have to wait. At this point, I think I would just cast Thunder. It should be castable. And,
yeah, it is castable, but yeah, TAH just not familiar with that technique. But yeah, casting Thunder will remove all hammers on the screen.
Yeah,
it's kind of an expensive trick, but it's, you know, it's one of the things that you realize when like you have Fire Thunder and you're just sort of spamming it everywhere. You're like, oh hey, you know that is nice that Thunder clears out projectiles.
Yeah, plus you don't want to have to bleed so much time waiting, because you are going against a Patrick. Going against a person like me, hey, you could be in one level for like 12 years and I'll still lose to you. But when you're going against champions, you have to always be aggressive in your gameplay, because you know what they can bring and you know their clear times. You know, grant you Rando beat Randoing, but you don't want to have to stay somewhere too long because your opponent can get 6, and then there's really nothing except a fairy block in GP that would stop them, really.
Yeah, and Patrick is going to have the boots in just a second here as he enters P4.
Yep.
You know, in a different palace layout, there's a possibility he might miss the item, but no one's going to miss this item.
No, it's literally right there staring you in the face. It's right there, see? Alright, and we get the immediate up A, and we're gonna get rushed over to our hooded overlord so he can get done.
TAH picked up a 1-up in the drop pool too. This is a pretty kind drop pool.
Yeah, this seed has been pretty kind in general. I mean, 150, 700 P-bags. You know, that's like a gold mine.
TAH on the right path, but unfortunately he's going to get nothing but sadness from this item.
You know, after I worked so hard to get there, I would cast life a couple of times, boost up my life a little bit, and take
a little bit being operative there.
Yes, a little bit. You know, just go ahead and do all of that and call it a day. Alright. Time to send our headed overlord here.
Attack 5, just absolutely demolishing him.
Yeah. I mean, it is Helmet Head, so it's not like he has a lot of health to begin with. So we're tied up temporarily with 3 crystals apiece.
Yeah, but TAH, I would say, probably behind Patrick now by about the amount that game over cost him.
Yeah.
Still plenty enough that a comeback could be had, you know, in these remaining palaces, and especially in GP.
Yeah, and since they have the bulk of the items needed for GP, I mean, they're just, for all intents and purposes, go mode. Unless there's a hard carry.
Yeah, I suspect at least TAH is probably gonna do a check to get Fairy Spell before going into GP. We'll see if Patrick decides to take that gamble or not. It is a gamble, right? I would say hard Fairy block in GP in this flag set's probably only maybe 5% of the time. But, you know, if you don't have it and you need it, then it could cost just a huge amount of time. And wow, Palace is going to continue to be tied up as this P3 is very short.
Yeah, it's... Alright, we should see Jackhammer strats in just a second on TAH's side. And Rebo has been napped. And,
exact sync on 4th jump placement.
Look at this! You love to see it. You love to see it. So, at this point, now we're left with our final 2 levels, which are 5 and 6 respectively. And
both runners basically exactly tied to within a couple frames.
Yep. So at the, you know, we're just saying at this time, just go ahead. You have an idea where they are.
Yeah. Well, this is what's happening here. TAH is going to get Fairy Spell. Patrick is not. This is what I was like. If you're gonna do all the palaces, Patrick's routing is more efficient, right? He was sort of right next to the raft here already. Go back to the maze, but TAH wants to go back to the east, which is gonna get him Fairy Spell early, which could be helpful. But it also means that he's going to have to double dip his trip to the east, a little bit less efficient overworld logic.
Gotcha.
But he will have Fairy Spell for her, and you know, that can help out a ton. Yeah, and here's GP, as we expected. And right next to GP is a new casino. Five containers, not enough. And TH gonna get Fairy Spell, probably not gonna get Hammer, but he could. I guess it's not guaranteed to be Hammer in Spell Thing, and a Hammer could still be in the basement. Again, I don't think you need anything else. I think you just get Fairy and head out. Very castable Fairy too, Magic 6. Looks like he's got 2 casts at 5 bars. But yeah, and so now, if Patrick decides he wants to get Fairy Spell, we know it's right next to GP. He could just sort of take a dip in and snag it right before doing GP. TH clearing out the River Devil just for the memes. And he's going to do Valley of Death while he's here. Makes sense. You're already here. You don't want to walk out, so you can just clear it, take an up A, then do 5. Having a little bit of trouble with the Fairy Feet, so he's just going back through. Meanwhile, P5 being traditionally long and deadly. And we're going to see a P5 versus P6 shootout in varying shades of green. So far, P5 mostly hold left, P6 just a quick dead end.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
I had to do a bit of coughing. I was like, I don't want to put that on the air.
Well, we're palacing. It's just more palacing.
Yes, I was coughing harder than the actual Pokemon coughing. And we have P-Bag, 700 P-Bag for Alan. And right now, you know, this is going to be a very strong seed in terms of our player strength. Because, I mean, you have triple sixes on Alan's side. You've got 677 with more likely than not also some lag there on Patrick's side. But this is a wonderful 6.
Yeah, Patrick just continuing to hold left here in P5.
Yeah, you know, normally we say hold right, but this is a definite left situation. And the one good thing is that, oh, time for me to get sad. There's my Disney princess right there, Gilma.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be around for long with attack 6 here.
Ah, no! My Disney princess has been vanquished.
Yeah,
That
no
is
maces
so
available
cool.
to the face or otherwise.
I know. How could you not give a mace to the face? I mean, that's like the rite of passage. Also, we have Barba on deck on Alan's side, so this is going to be interchangeable. Dungeon crawling with Alan needing 5 to proceed and 6 on Patrick's side.
Yeah, we should see a fairly close GP entry. I would say Patrick, it still sort of depends on how quickly Patrick routes this 5, but if he takes about the same amount of time as TAH, he's probably going to be in the neighborhood of a minute ahead in GP.
And there's my lovable little River Devil, you know.
Okay, so Patrick is going to get the fairy spell. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's right next to GP, so it's not like you're going a long way for it. So,
yeah.
Totally understandable move to do that.
It's going to cost him a little bit of overworld time getting this before the palace instead of after, but it'll probably save him that much time being able to fairy feet through the valley.
Yeah, not only that, no more fall hazards and lava baths. Now that you have the safety and the fairy spell, you can activate it and save yourself from taking a lava bath. So, you know, it does have its use. And here we go, entering P5 right now is Alan. So
yeah, we'll see how quickly he finds the hold left strat here instead of Patrick took not a terribly long amount of time in P5, but the fact that the correct strategy was hold left is maybe going to throw TAH for a loop. I know Patrick, I think he did check this downward first.
You know, I remember when I first started commentating, I actually used to call the P5 windows complicated windows, you know, instead of stained glass. Oh,
I mean,
man.
both of those things are true.
It just, you know, sounded so right. But, let's see. Okay, so now Patrick has entered 6. And I think he might find Barba before TH finds Guma. Because I think 6
hard to say.
Yeah, because 6 was a little bit easier to route. Plus, you know, Alan's been just doing nothing but going right. Oh, yeah. And there's our darling right there.
So, TAH took a different route than Patrick. So, unfortunately, the correct route for TAH is to hold left from here. And he is currently going the wrong way.
Yep.
So, yeah, he took a different route around, but it put him into the same place, but going the wrong direction. The good news is, if he keeps going right, I believe this is going to loop for him.
Yeah, it will.
And so he will be able to figure that out and turn back around and go left.
Yeah, because the buck stops right there. And that's actually where he needed to go left. Oh, no.
Yeah, Patrick finding the item here is just a pea bag. He's not interested. I think a magic container would be the only thing he'd want right about now, which would be a nice pickup because Thunder does take most of his bar.
It does. It really does. And, you know, but he doesn't have the shield spell, so it's not like he's going to put shield up before tackling Thunderbird. So odds are, and life 8. I mean, you really don't need shield at this point.
You'd like to be in a situation where you can cast Fairy in a previous room and then cast Thunder. That's the real sweet spot. Because even if, you know, Fairy not required in GP, there are a lot of rooms in GP that just suck. And Fairy is a solution.
Are you referring to my beloved Focus?
I am. They can ruin so many rooms.
Now, getting love from a couple of chickens are absolutely appropriate. You know, they're friendly and amicable folks.
Okay, so both TH and Patrick going the wrong way here.
Going the wrong way.
Well, TH we know was going the wrong way. Patrick just going a different way than TAH. It might also lead to the boss. We don't know. TAH, unfortunately, we do know, needs to be holding the left button.
Yes, and yes. The up A shows that TAH realized something wrong here. So we're gonna get the quick exit on TAH's side. So now I know TAH knows that he's got to go left.
He just has to find the right spot.
Yep. He had it before when he was on the elevator, but
yeah, but you don't know, right? There's so many different
I know. So he's got the speed run getting back to that elevator, going down to the second floor. Wow, we did not see this.
We did not see this fairy block before, which is not a good sign for TAH.
No. No.
Meanwhile, Patrick has reached the end of his wrong way exploration. It led to a dead end. Shocking.
I really am now curious to know how big this 5 is.
Spoilers, it's just like P6, big.
Well, I know, but here we go.
Oh, okay. Someone in chat pointing out that Patrick had found that spot, didn't have Varian turned up. Well, I was going to save Patrick a little bit of time. And TH also, yeah, taking an up A here. Going to be probably holding left at the first room, and that we know will take him in the correct direction.
Alright, we're going left. We're getting hammered while going left, but, you know, something is better than nothing.
Yeah, we'll see where he goes in this first fork. But I believe holding left and then going down the elevator to the next fork and going left there are the same. I believe they both lead to the same section. I'm not sure which is faster, but either left will take him towards where he needs to go. Unfortunately, that extra bit of having here in P5 has given Patrick time to make it up and find himself a Barba.
Yeah, you know, going right ended up being costly in this case for Alan.
So we'll see what this level is. It's probably attack 7, but high attack levels can get wonky. It's attack nothing. It's burn a gem. Patrick is not interested. He wants to go.
Can't blame him for that. I mean, we're approaching almost an hour. And you know, with Max Rando, you could have the longest seat ever or the shortest seat ever. But in this case, considering the starting items they had, it would most definitely be a shorter length of time, just due to the fact that you didn't have to dig for the kid, the medicine, nor the trophy. So when you get all those factors combined, you're like, am I behind? So you're going to play like you're behind, just due to the sheer amount of items.
Okay, so yeah, TH's holding left strat has sent him back to this item room. We know is the right way. About a 58.04 is Patrick's entrance. And he's gonna go right. So, since this is Max Rando, we kind of know very little about GP. Required Thunderbird is off, but he of course could still be in the way. And it could be long GP or short GP. We don't know. So any room could be dark light. This is what I was talking about before, Patrick, finding one of these rooms that absolutely stinks without fairy. And that cast a fairy means you can't cast thunder, but turns out it doesn't matter. I'm kind of surprised with this almost being a full clear that our runners still have 3 magic containers outstanding. Yes, we still didn't get 2 items on the east and then both items in Death Mountain.
I was wondering what was going on here. I hit the mute button by mistake. I was just talking away. But Folk is in effect right here. Lagtown Central.
Yeah, they do produce a lot of lag. Ooh, hey, look. An upstep required drone. Good thing we started with it. This jump, though, this jump without jump spell is tricky. And Patrick made it look easy. It is not. It is not easy to do.
Okay.
Alright, so TAH ending only slightly behind Patrick in terms of level. It's going to finish 1 life level short. Very unlikely to make a difference.
No, not at all. I mean... What's happening on Alan's side?
Some kind of a technical issue. Doing some buffering for a bit, but he's back. Oh boy! Krista, welcome back.
Yes, it's good times, always good times in GP.
Just saying, you brought the chickens with you.
I know. The focus are in effect right now. And
why is casting the Thunder Spell by Patrick to eliminate them?
Yeah, there was just too many. You're looking at immediate lag, which doesn't help you combat-wise, and this is an even more tragic group. This is even more, and the good part is I didn't even roll this, so people can't even blame me for it. Because usually I used to get the blame for everything. In most communities I still do, but this here, very combat GP. The only thing that's missing right now is a random, king bot. Oh well, here he comes.
You have summoned him!
Yes, you gotta have the random king bot there falling on your head to make it even more interesting. I mean, he just comes in like howdy, and is tanky as well. Do you see this? Woo.
Yeah. Patrick decided he does not like gambles, did not want to take the drop in that reverse L7. And Alan entering GP slightly over 3 minutes behind. So still very, very much a time he can catch up from, but gonna need to find a way to do it somewhere. And feels like he's doing good enough. He doesn't want to gamble on a left. Here's a Thunderbird. This could be required. Who knows?
Yeah, and we're gonna have to take the immediate death, so that way Thunder is castable.
This is Patrick's last life, so I think if this ends up being a dead end behind Thunderbird, we're likely to see maybe an up A and then a left out of him.
I would imagine the same thing. I mean, first of all, you don't want to risk going into a long GP or a potential long GP with very few lives. So here's the moment of truth. There's more to
It's a different drop. Who knows?
Oh, that lag. The lag is real. So we're gonna take that drop. That's not a good room to go to. So we're gonna continue right on Patrick's side. Nope, that's a loop.
So
we
we
know.
still could be that first drop that neither runner wanted to take. Could still be that left right at the start. A lot of attractive options if you're looking to gamble, but so far both runners keeping it standard.
Yeah, you gotta believe in the gambler too. I mean, and also I am deeply saddened at the use of up stab. I'm still team down stab after all this time, Elendar.
I mean, this is one of the scenarios where it can be helpful, right? You got enemies jumping over your head.
Yeah, that up stab. Although I hate to admit it, is actually good against the focus. Because you can lock them when they go to jump up and just continue bashing them with upstab. But that's the first and the last time I utter such heresy. But this is going to be a very long GP.
I mean, maybe again, you could just go left in the first room, down an elevator, and there's Darklink, right?
Possibly, but our runners ain't doing that. Not until the absolute last location. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Also, and dare I say it, attack 6 is not all that great against the focus today. They're tanky. Ooh, that's never a good feeling.
Yeah, and still just producing an incredible amount of lag.
Yeah. Alright, we're going back to the elevator.
Here's a 4-way. I heard you liked options.
That's many options, but you can't pass on this like John Stockton, but
Oh, okay. So TAH, it's funny, I didn't notice this before. The drop is into the top side of that L7 room from the very beginning.
Ooh, that's on TAH's side.
He's got 1 life left. If TAH takes the game over, I was gonna say.
You don't have to worry anymore, because Patrick has found our favorite Dark Link. So are we going to go with ankle strats, Elendar?
I think Patrick is doing more standing stuff.
I remember the good old days when we used ankles. All right, so give it up with an official time. Would help if I actually open up race time.
107.16.
Thank you.
Which for a 6-jammer, not a bad time.
No, it really isn't. So get those GGs out. Get my little GG out.
And we've got Patrick here. GG.
Hey, thank you.
Yes, GGs.
That was kind of trolly one at the beginning, just how many islands and canyons and non-accessible terrains there were.
Yeah, and then the free boots that I just never looked for. So that was...
Yeah, you both found P4 and just didn't want to check it. And then, yeah, the boots were right there. If either runner had gone even one room into that P4, it probably would have won them the race. But yeah, after 4 palaces, you two were within a frame or two, leaving your 4th completed palace. So P5 versus P6 times ended up being the big difference. You had a rough P5 and TAH had a really rough P6. Or the other way around, I can't remember, but you were both sort of stuck in palaces for a long time.
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt. It was hard to get traction in the beginning, and then just 5 and 6 and Great Palace kind of turned into mazes, but not too bad.
Yeah, we were hoping there were a couple of good gambles. There was that left at the start. There was that first reverse L7 drop. We're hoping maybe to see some divergence, some gambling done, but both of you sort of played it safe, took standard routing, and you had a couple minutes lead heading in GP, and that just took you to the end.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a close one. Can't wait to watch it back. But
it really was. It really was. Both of you played very, very well. I mean, we got a blessed start, no one heart container shenanigans, and you really didn't need to search for the trophy, the child, or the medicine to acquire anything. I mean, you started off with the stabs. So, if it wasn't a 6 gem or a 0 gemmer, I'm sure you probably would have dipped GP early.
yeah, I think GP was boots blocked along with New Kasuda, so yeah, it would have been a frustrating 0 gem seed, but it wasn't bad as 6 gems.
Yeah, well, no one was going to miss those boots, right? So, but yeah, it could have been big if either of you had found those earlier, but it makes sense. You don't really want to dip into P4 with no magic key, no berry, no glove. Oh yeah, glove, but not no reflect.
Yeah, I felt like I was already pushing my luck with palaces 1 and 3, so I was.
Yeah, you both. Like I said, the early games were reversed. You did a lot of things in different order, but you both did the palace gambles. You both did sort of similar routing, just in reverse. And yeah, like I said, up to the 4th palace cleared, I think you were within frames of each other, and then just 5, 6, and GP ended up making a big difference.
All right. Well, thanks for commentating and restreaming. Good game, Alan. That's all I've got to say, I think.
Was Alan gonna join us for comms?
No, Alan was unable to. He doesn't have a microphone available at this time.
Okay, so GG's to you out there in TV land, Alan, and I'll give my couple of words. GG's to both runners for showing Z2 at its finest, and that meaning everything is basically there. You don't have to get very much, but it was 6 gems, so it was suffrage, but not that much suffrage. So it was diet suffrage today for our runners. Patrick, congratulations on your win. You were amazing. It was close to the final finishes, and I thank you, Elendar, for being the greatest commentator ever for me to return back to Z2R with, and what you do for the community, everything in terms of making Z2R just the wonderful game it is right now. And thanks to our restreamer and Clickety Clacker VT, who has been doing the business, maintaining both sides of the spectrum for you guys out there to enjoy. And the biggest GGs and love to chat, because we always win in chat. And I thank you so much for all the love you give to both Zelda Speedruns and the Z2R community. please remember to give our runners a big fat follow, as well as follow Elendar, because the man's a genius. Come on, who wouldn't want to follow him? And on that note, I thank you. Elendar, take us on out, friend.
I have no more words.
I can cover. I definitely want to say thank you, Krista, for jumping in. I know we'll let you get back to Super Mario Brothers 3 Randomizer and all the fun over there, but thank you for joining us today. I'm actually going to send everybody over to Zelda Speedruns 3 as they're having one of their Ocarina of Time Randomizer weeklies over there. But I know we have another race at 4 p.m. We'll try to see if we can get that on Zelda Speedruns as well, or bootleg restream. And of course, all the other Zelda races we have going on at this time. Other than that, thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.